Hello.
Hello, Mike. Good to see you on board.
Hi, can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Looks good.
Could you shut down the sound from the stream, so otherwise we get an echo?
Or even worse, a feedback. We had this once during the tests.
Okay.
How's this?
Okay, Mike. Could you tell us a little bit about your game, Power Up?
Yeah, I can. It's nothing anywhere near as complex as one we've just looked at. But I'm not. I'm gonna say. I'm not very technically minded. That's still making noise in the background. Right? Yeah, it's a modern take on the retro shooter, really, that started off as a little experiment in just trying to make a game with XNA. Now, I'm not a programmer traditionally. I'm an artist really for the job, but I can't resist having a go, you know. So I did, and it turned into Power Up. It kind of started as just getting a spaceship to move around the screen, and suddenly I had this quite a slick control system for a game. So I turned it into a game basically, and yeah, and the rest is what you see of it at the moment. It's a side-scrolling 2D shooter with a load of different weapons and a lot of experimental programming. I guess it was the artist equivalent of what they call programmer art or code art. This is artist coding. So, but it seems to have come good, and it's a very solid game at the moment. Yeah, it's got 5 levels full of all kinds of baddies, plenty of bullet hell stuff, and obviously once I've got some general AI going, I couldn't resist having a go at level bosses, big, massive level bosses with lots of different types of guns and you know all that kind of fun. I've got a bit of a background with media production, so I was able to produce the music myself, and so the general production values you know are pretty good, considering I'm an all-rounder and I'm not centred on any one specific area. But yeah, the game's coming along now, and you know, if I enjoy playing it as the person who's programmed it, then it can't be that bad.
Mm-hmm. So what's been the most important influences that got into the game? Any classics you'd like to name and say these are my most preferred games of the old times? Classic shooters you preferred?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of them. But my personal favourite genre from that era was really the kind of character based stuff because I'm an artist. I was really into like the brawlers and the beat 'em ups and things like that. But my programming skills are kind of not quite there yet. So I started with shooters and I drew on. Well, it was a vast heritage. But there were 2 games that I specifically cite as real influence for it. One was the visual side of Team 17's Project X. That was really in my psyche when I started coding. You know, when I started doing the art there. I wasn't really aware of it either. I was just pumping that stuff out, and someone said, "You know, that looks a bit like Project X." And yeah, that'll be kids. I quite like that. And the actual weapons system. Again, it was just some kind of, oh right, I've made it easily. And but and stuff. And I realised when I was kind of in the middle of that this is basically I'm remaking a drive called Hellfire, and that was a so I suppose that was a massive influence on the game. But at first it was just me going at it and seeing what I could throw at the game, and you know without breaking code. And suddenly I've basically drawn those 2 games into my own little project. There's loads of other stuff in there. I mean, there's got to be quite a lot of art to that game.
Yeah, yeah.
So, masses of. Yeah, they're the 2 main ones. They're the 2 main ones.
So how do you feel about being on Kickstarter? what's your experiences?
Yeah, I actually made some notes about this because there's so much to say on the subject. So if I'm looking down here, it's just me trying to remember where I'm up to. But basically, it was something I was never going to do. I was saving up for a year. This is the story everyone's there, but yeah, you guys might have. I was saving up for a year to buy the licenses. I knew exactly what I was using for the game. Saving up to release the game, but I got made redundant in the new year, and that money has gone straight into savings. So I thought, well, my only option really is to crowdsource. Is that the word? Crowdfund. That's the word. So I looked into Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I said, this is my game idea. Would I be eligible to do this? I think in the UK there's a sense that there's not as much of a sense of entitlement about it. So you're never sure if you should be, if you're allowed to be doing this sort of thing, you know. So I just said, is it all right if I fund this project? This is what I need. And they said, well, tell you what, build a page, have a look around at what else is going on there, and get back to us. So I did. I basically went looking at through the Kickstarters, for other indie games, and I was looking for the ones that kind of resonated with me. There were a few, specifically, that they were kind of very tiny scale and low budget, but really stylized a certain way, but you know, very deliberately kind of in retro roots, and they were Terra Incognita, Pixel Kingdom, and Expedition Unknown. They all had varying levels of popularity and success, but they were the ones that I thought, oh, I definitely want to give those a go. There was one also that called Unwritten that was so deliberate and different and quite unique. I thought, I've got to know what that game's about, you know. So I pledged on that. I thought it was a bit hypocritical if I don't start pledging on these games for me to do a Kickstarter. And I also wanted to know exactly what was expected of me, and it was all a bit overwhelming at first, the amount of information to put up there, as I'm sure you found. It occurred to me it was going to be an ongoing process of updating, you know, while doing the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So I built a page over a couple of weeks, and I did a video, which was a terrifying experience, more so than this, because I'd never put myself out there before. Now I've just done it in the back bedroom of the house, and kind of, you know, quite anonymous about it all. And there's a safety in that, so you don't feel like you're taking any chances. But I thought, well, I've got to do a video. So I basically, literally, the moment I decided that that's going to happen, I took out my iPhone, you know, and I was like, right, there we go. And went at it, and for about half an hour, I just talked a lot of nonsense at my phone. And then I cut it all together. I just took all the ends and the bits that were completely irrelevant. Because you might have noticed, I do tend to ramble. But I cut that down. I ended up with a kind of a short 2-minute thing that, because it was all chopped up, it was actually quite tasty and quite good. I checked it with my partner, my other half, and she always tells me if I'm making an idiot of myself or if that's all right. And she came back with, that's all right. So I submitted it all to them, and they were fine with it, which was quite a shock at first. Because this was all just a kind of a last minute decision. Well, if I can't get the funding any other way, I better do this, you know. And I really didn't expect the response to that. Every day was just another really nice surprise, just to, you know, getting feedback from people as well as the pledges, obviously. But I found that I didn't know it was going to be a success, but I knew I had to. There's going to be things I've got to do to make it a success. But first thing I did, and they suggest things, as I'm sure you know. First thing I did was hit family about this. So I went to Facebook and I said, basically, I'm doing a Kickstarter. I'm going to update you every few days with how it's going. If you want to get involved, I'd love that. You know, and every few days I'd just update them what I was doing with it. And I got a lot of support from my personal network and friends and family. That was the most kind. They're already emotionally invested in you as a person. They know you. So it's a really great source straight away, you know. So I thought, great, okay, I'll go to them. The second one was obviously the Twitter feed. Now, for about a year while I've been developing Power Up, I started telling people about it. I thought I'm going to need some advice as well, as much as to try and sell the game to people. I'm going to need to help to make it, you know. So I started the Twitter thing and built up quite a following of kind of like-minded people in indie games and people who just like indie games and people who just like games in general, you know. And yeah, so I went to them next. And basically, I said, look, every day I'm going to be throwing this link at you, but I'll also be updating you with progress on the game, you know. So I did that, but I made sure that I was also giving them an idea of where the game was up to, because I've always done that with Twitter anyway. So it wasn't just a hard sell. But my Twitter followers really came through as well, so that was good. I'd also built up a bit of a contact list of press people that I like to keep up with. When something interesting happens for me, I'll send out a message to a few of the people that I'm friends with in the indie press, and they help me out as well quite a lot. But yeah, and the Kickstarter updates, I wanted to be sure I wasn't keeping people in the dark who were already pledging, so I made sure to update every working day with what I was up to, and usually I have a company that would have a little video of me talking like this, and that was as much to get me used to public speaking as anything else. Or a few of the rough design concept sketches that I've done for spaceships and whatnot. And that went down pretty well. But what I also realised was a lot of the people who weren't already backing wanted updates and wanted to know what was going on. I thought, well, fair enough. There was the argument that if they're not backing it, why should I update them? But then there was the argument, well, why should they update if I'm not? Why should they back it if I'm not updating? So I thought, okay, what I'll do is I'll take what I've been updating for my backers, and I'll make a kind of a little compilation email or update of the thing that's been getting emailed out to my backers with the videos and the artwork on. So weekly, those people can see why they should be backing it, you know. But daily, my backers would get those updates as and when they happen, and that seemed to, well, I say that seemed to work, but well, it did now because the project got there in the end. But yeah, I guess it was a kind of a combination of all of these things. It was exhausting, constantly thinking these ways up to keep it moving, you know, and then after kind of doing that for a bit, getting back into the game and putting your head back into the game, you know, into making the game. But yeah, so the Kickstarter has been a real experience in just keeping your mind limber, you know, and while you're doing that, trying to stay in a positive mood about it and being personable with people and being transparent and honest about what you're doing and what you need their money for.
That's something I really like about your campaign, the transparency. It's so good to see the cost all put up on the page, all the software you need to create the game, and the people really see what the money is going into.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my partner. She always tells me that I'm always what's the word? Confessing. I'm always confessional. I'm always explaining myself. But I do think with this particular project, it was important for me to just to let people know that I don't want to rip anyone off. You know, this is what I want. This is how much it costs. Look at the prices. This is the source for where I've got these costs. That's what I need. You know. One thing that never happened was I've never been called out about that. No one's ever said, well, you haven't told us everything, because I have, and that was a weight off for me. I didn't have to worry about that. The integrity was in, you know, and I was able to focus on getting to my target and getting the game done. I didn't have to worry about explaining these things on the side to people, because people were able to see exactly what they needed to know. And on the very few occasions where there was some information that wasn't there, for example, I'd mentioned that my soundtrack would be DRM-free. I'd completely forgotten to mention it about the game, and someone picked up on that, and then obviously I go back and update things like that. But keeping those kind of updates, as I'm sure you guys expect it to a minimum, is much better for just on the project. So yeah, I was determined that I'd just make much information there already, and then people can make a decision based on that, without having to go on. But it just seems to make sense to me to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're planning to support a lot of platforms if you get the required funding. Have you had any experiences with the Ouya so far?
No, I haven't yet. As I say, though, I haven't had experience with the Xbox yet. so this game I've been making has all been a learning process, as a lot of my backers and my followers will know. I always say I'm learning and sharing as I go. It will get there, because that's my focus. Purpose in life is to get this game there. But no, I've not developed anything for Ouya yet. It was basically down to, I was going to do an Xbox version. Wanted to know, will I be doing it on PC? And I said, well, I can do it on PC, because I know how to use the XMA, the PC version. So I did that, and I agreed to do that. I thought, I'll do that because I can't guarantee. People wanted copies of the PC game on the awards here, so I thought, right, I'll have to do that.
Papa, what?
Georgie just came in. Yeah.
Well,
Papa,
oh yeah. Basically, as I've gone along, the demand for different versions has turned up. Not for Android. So I checked that with a previous colleague of mine who can code for that stuff. He said, yeah, no problems, we can do that. Now, that's the format I use. All those handheld multi-resolution formats, so if there's one thing I know about, it's how to blast out masses and masses of graphics in different resolutions and how to work. So as long as he can do the code for it, well, we're doing that. But then we were looking at, well, we still have, it was a case of, we can't set dates for doing these stretch goals, but it should be a case of just translating what we already make over to these different devices. And doing our research, it looked like the Ouya isn't too difficult actually to do. So we looked at the demand, what people were asking for. The Ouya was next on the list. And there was the GCW0. That's something we're looking into. But yeah, as I say, we haven't had the experience yet. This will be the experience to get the first thing to Ouya, and then we manage. It won't be until we've managed that that we'll move on to anything else. So we'll definitely make sure it gets done.
So we're almost done by now. Well, you're over the top at 3 days left. What are you expecting to put on top? Let's say at £6,500 right now. You can expect, I guess, to get at least £7,000. What's the stretch goals you're going to offer to your backers if you reach this sum or even more?
Well, what I put on the Kickstarter page, and it's it's this thing where you're generally evolving it over as you go along, and I'm having to now. It was going to be 5,000 is the Xbox version, which is hopefully around August, and then the PC version as well, which is hopefully around November. The other Kickstarter commitments I've got. And then it'll be the £6,000 pay for the multi-resolution iPhone and Android versions. That's all set in stone. That's pretty much underway now. The next tiers, what was it, 6,500. It was basically £500 a version. We kind of worked it out that. Another 500 would enable us to do the Ouya version. So it looks like we're there now, which is cool. And then another 500 would be the next device in the priority list, and the one I'm getting asked for most at the moment is this GCW Zero. Now, I haven't even played on the GCW Zero. I understand it's a Linux-based device, and I'll have to do the research and find out how to go about doing it. But again, this is part of the learning process. As much as learning to code in XNA has been part of the learning process for me. It's none of it's insurmountable, you know. It can be done, and we'll work it out. We'll find a way to do it and to make that happen. So it looks like the next one is the GCW Zero. I hope I've got those initials right. I know what I'm talking about, the handheld thing. And then also on the list, there's things like people are asking about Nintendo or things like that. Obviously, it will get more set in stone as the money goes up, but at the moment, it looks like it will be next. And then it'll be every year increase. You know, we'll hit another device. The ones that we can already code for will be the easiest, but we'll see. We'll definitely fix out how to port it.
Yeah. Just a second, please.
Yeah, no problem. I have to say, I'm amazed at your ability to multitask. I was watching you do the interview.
It's quite a deal here, coming from all sides. Well, just let me get a little update on the ongoings of Days of Dawn. Sorry for the disturbance. We just got in another Jeremy Hockmeyer pledged. Johannes added in, and Michael Giuliano has just been on the show, has also pledged. Thank you very much. James Fleming has also put in some coins, and last but not least, Michael Curran has increased from $100 to $150. That is highly appreciated. Thank you very much. So back to business. So anything else you would like to tell your backers about your project or their support or whatever?
Well, I keep everything as up to date as possible. As everyone knows where I'm up to, even down to the actual progress on the game. You know, the points I'm at right now. That's all going pretty smoothly now. After a few crazy days, so there's no big surprises to tell anybody about just yet. I suppose what it'd be a good opportunity to mention that I've got a couple of other things in mind for Power Up before it's finished that are quite easy and quick to implement, but should really add to the game. But I won't go into any more detail than that just yet until I've really got my head around exactly what I've got to do. But I'm really grateful to my backers. It was such a surprise to me that I was able to actually even entitled to do this. It was even more so that people actually took an interest in it, and there's been some incredible support for this project. It's really overwhelming, to be honest. I was really overwhelmed with the benefit that I got, and I mean that from the point of view of my friends and family as much as complete strangers that are right into the project. You know, just you know exactly where it's coming from. They understand my roots and where my love for these games comes from, and this kind of era of gaming comes from, and they're totally there with me. And thanks for that, guys. I'm really glad to know it's not just me in a back bedroom anymore doing this stuff. You know, it's all of us, and that's so cool. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, to sum it up, if anybody watching is interested in a side-scrolling shooter, I can only say have a look at Power Up. It's really beautifully looking.
Oh, thank you.
And I just get a reminder, we just crossed the $39,000 with Days of Dawn. That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Excellent, very cool. Okay, no, it's really a beautiful game. I like the insight you give us to your workflow, the software you use. It's very interesting to get a little view into the production of a shooter. So if you like shooters, check this one out. Really, really beautiful. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Thanks very much.
Been fun having you here.
Yeah,
and I wish you all the best of luck for your next 3 days. We're going to watch it.
Brilliant. Thanks very much. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Been a pleasure. Okay, thank you.
good luck with the project, guys. Good luck with the Kickstarter.
Yeah,
So hopefully it'll pick up and get a bit of momentum going and get there.
yeah. Cool. Okay, thanks.